Say hi! Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I was able to save over $100,000 in my retirement accounts before the age of 30. Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is Mia. I am a 29-year-old living in New York City, but also sometimes I'm in California with my family. Up? Okay, lay down. Good girl. Like many of us, I love beauty, I love fashion, I love traveling, but I also like being financially responsible while doing it. And my goal is to help some of you do that as well. Those that are in their 20s and have no idea what a 401k is or an IRA, let me break it down for you. As one girl who loves to shop, loves to travel, but also at the same time has a decent balance with both saving for retirement and living up in my 20s. To give me some credibility, I will show screenshots of my accounts. No means, shape, or form am I telling you this amount to be like, look at me or whatever, or even give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just letting you know what I did. I just have learned through reading books and going on YouTube myself. Now, if you're like me and you like working, but you don't really like working, then you're probably gonna want to retire one day. And so this is how you can do it. It's so much easier to start earlier than start later. The later you start, the more aggressive you're gonna have to be with your saving and your investing. So I recommend start now. Start as early as you can. Now, I don't come from a trust fund. I don't come from a wealthy family. I grew up on food stamps. I lived in West Virginia with my mom and my grandma. And then in high school, I moved in with my dad who worked for the post office. So I do not come from a wealthy background, and I just want to kind of say that because anyone can set up their future for themselves. I think the missing part in our society is the educational portion of it, like learning about 401ks, learning about IRAs. They don't really teach you this, and the only way that I learned was I just picked up a book one day kind of randomly and really taught myself about the importance of saving for my retirement. Now, 9 years ago, I was 20 years old and I had no idea what a 401k was or an IRA. I'm like, what are you talking about? I had a full-time job. I was in college, but I was working full-time as well. And we were signing up for our benefits, had no idea what a 401k was. And when we were filling out our paperwork, I was just gonna skip it because I was like, I have no idea what this is. Like, not interested. Let me just get my paycheck, pay my tuition, go to school, pay my rent, and live my life, right? But no, because my company had a 5% match, which means I would take 5% of my paycheck and put that into my 401k and my company would match that. So it'd be like a 1-for-1. So basically whatever I would put in my 401k, it would automatically double. If you have a full-time job where it offers a company match, please do it. Please, please, please do it. Because essentially you're giving up free money. Yes, you can't touch this money until you're 65 and retiring or whatnot. Wouldn't it be nice to have the money than not have the money? And 5% or whatever your match is not that much money where you're gonna feel that pain, you know? Like if it's $100, in the long run, that $100 could be $1 million. If you don't have $1 million when you're 65, that's gonna hurt more than you losing out on $100. I also think saving now while we're younger is so much easier than saving later, because later in life, we're going to have children, we're going to have families, we're going to have a lot more responsibility, both personally with our time and our effort, but also our money. So if we could just save when we're younger, we'll have more time for that growth to compound, and it'll be actually easier to save for retirement, if you know what I mean. So step 1, start saving early. Now, if you're watching this and you're in your 30s or higher, you probably wish that you started whenever you were younger as well. But for those that are in their early 20s, I recommend starting to save for your retirement now. Even if your company offered a 5% match like mine did, and you only want to contribute 2%, that 2% will still move the needle more than $0. So I recommend starting early and at least start with something. And starting is going to be a little overwhelming. I mean, when you start anything new, it's always a little scary and you're still trying to learn and feel it out. So it's okay to start small as long as you start. I would say consistency is key more than anything. As long as you're contributing to your retirement accounts every single month, that's what matters more than the amount. Now, in terms of what retirement accounts, I have a Roth 401k and I have a Roth IRA. So a 401k is a company-sponsored retirement account. If you work for a government agency, usually you'll have a 403b, which is very, very similar. And the term Roth just means that the money that I'm putting into the account is after taxes. So I've already paid taxes on this money and I don't have to pay taxes on it when I take out the money during retirement. There is some controversy on whether a traditional account, which is pre-tax funds, or a Roth account, post-tax funds, is the best option. To each their own. I don't want to get super into it because there could be a video just on traditional versus Roth, but essentially there are two pros to a Roth. The first pro is when I retire, I don't have to pay taxes on that money, and that freedom when I'm retired to have that money and not have to pay taxes on it is priceless, in my opinion. You don't know where the tax rates are going to be. Are they going to be higher? Are they going to be lower? You really don't know, especially if you're in your 20s or even 30s. Retirement is so far away that you don't know what the tax rates are going to be. So for me, I'd rather just pay the taxes now and not have to worry about it later. The second pro is that there are no monthly minimum distributions required. So when you reach a certain age, you are required to withdraw money out of a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA because you haven't paid taxes on that money, and the government, they want that tax money. Now, if you have a Roth, you're never required to take money out of it, which is really nice because I'm hoping that whenever I am at retirement age, I won't even need this. Maybe I'll have so much money that I really don't even need my IRA or my 401k, and that would be awesome. You never know where the future's gonna bring you, but just in case, it would be nice to have that money and hold it and keep it invested for as long as I can versus being required to take that money out. I will put a little sprinkle of another pro is if you pass away before the funds are gone, in a Roth IRA, the person inheriting your IRA doesn't have to pay taxes on that money. And I think it's just so much easier if you're like inheriting things and you don't have to worry about like, the taxes and all that crazy stuff. Like if you could just get the money and be like, cool, thanks for the money. That would be like so much easier for whoever inherits my IRA and or my 401k when I'm gone, whenever that is. Now with a 401k, it's through my employer, so I'm actually limited to what I can invest in. Now normally your employer is going to automatically set up what you're investing in your 401k or 403b, and usually they're going to do like a target date fund, which means that the investments are going to change as you get closer and closer to your retirement age. For me personally, I did change my investments to a certain fund in my 401k. I recommend only doing this later down the line when you've already educated yourself on different investment options. Maybe read a couple books. I highly recommend Susie Orman. She is my ultimate favorite. I love her books and I love her podcast. I listen to her all the time. So give her a listen. Dave Ramsey is also a really popular financial guru in the space. I think he's great if you're in debt, but once you're out of debt, I do not like his investment advice at all. So I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, so you did your employer match in your 401k, 403b. Hopefully you did a Roth, but if not, to each their own. Now the overall goal is to have about 15% of your total income saved every month into your retirement account. That's not realistic for a lot of us. Like for me, I live in New York City. My rent is over like 30% of my total income. So if I save 15% of my income for retirement, I'm never going to be able to buy a house or like live my best life. You know what I mean? I think the overall goal is to eventually get to 15% savings per month for your retirement. But in the meantime, I'm just going to give you like the bare minimum for those that are just starting off with their savings. So first, your 401k, 403b with your employer match, just up to that amount, whatever that may be. The second is I would recommend opening up a Roth IRA, individual retirement account. There's so many places that you can open this up. I personally use Ally, but Fidelity is another really popular one. You can only contribute to a Roth IRA with earned income. So any income that is earned on your tax return. You can't just be gifted this money and invest it in your IRA. You have to earn this income. And there is an income limit to those that can contribute to a Roth IRA versus the traditional. But if you're lucky and you make too much money, there is a backdoor IRA, which you could find out information online on how to do that. But this is mainly for people just like me. We're making income, nothing too crazy, and we're just trying to live our best lives, but also save for our future selves at the same time. So if you're under the age of 50, you can contribute up to $7,000 this year 2024. That breaks down to about $583 per month if you wanted to dollar cost average and put away that much money every single month. So once you've opened up your Roth IRA, you're going to connect your bank account and send that money into your IRA. You can do the whole $7,000 at once, or you can just deposit money into it as you can afford it. Now, $7,000 is the maximum amount. That does not mean you have to contribute $7,000. If you just want to do $1,200 for the year and just do $100 every month, that is so much better than not putting anything in there. Now, once you have the money in your account, you need to invest it. This is not a savings account. You are investing that money. Where are you going to invest it in? Because you're still like new and learning this. I recommend an index fund, which essentially is a bunch of different stocks, diversified. I recommend VTI, but you can do whatever you want. Again, watch more YouTube videos, do some research. But Susie Orman does recommend VTI, so that is one of the funds that I invest in. Not the only fund, but it is one of my main funds. It's basically a ton of different stocks across the entire stock market. That way you're a little diversified in a little bit of everything, and it also pays some dividends, so that's always nice. And we can get into dividends another day, and I can go over my dividend income over the past few years, but we're gonna keep this simple to just how the heck do you start saving for retirement. So now you have your Roth 401k or 403b, and you have your Roth IRA. Now what? There are a couple different options that you could do. You can either max out your 401k. You can open up a brokerage account and play around in the stock market that way. For me personally, what I'm doing is anything in excess of my IRA and my 401k employer match, I'm actually saving in a high yield savings account. Right now, interest rates are pretty high on these savings accounts. They're close to around 5%. And in my 5-year plan, I really want to purchase a home. So for me, it makes sense to tackle my retirement savings. It's not a crazy amount. It's not my 15% of my total income, but it's at least something. And then I have my goal of purchasing a home, and that's where my high yield savings account comes into play. Now, if you already have a home, then you don't really have to worry about that. And I would probably max out my 401k. I did do that back in 2021, I believe, and it was a huge accomplishment for me. But a lot of us don't have the ability to do that, so I'm just trying to get you a start in the right direction. Now, I'm all for us living our best lives. Get that Rare Beauty liquid blush. Try out those new Summer Fridays lip oils. That is totally fine, but don't overconsume to the point where you're hurting yourself financially, and you want to make sure that you're setting up your future self. So between my Roth 401k and my Roth IRA, I have, drum roll please, $117,075 invested for my retirement. I do have to say that this amount did not come overnight. This is years in the making of just very consistently contributing to these accounts. Now, this money I cannot just pull out and go have fun with. This is saved for my retirement. If I try to pull it out early, there are going to be what are they called? Penalty fees. So I have no intention of ever touching this money, and that's actually why I'm saving for a house in an entirely separate savings account through a high yield savings account. So anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helps you set up your future self in a good financial place where now you can still live your best life, but you'll be able to live your best life later as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and otherwise I will chat with you next time. Bye.